we keep hearing about the intuition. So scientists had to be called in because we need to verify this intuition. We've been hearing about this forever. So scientists did sciencey things. They did a study and they found out that the region of the brain that recognizes facial expressions, empathy, like nonverbal cues, things of that nature, women have a thicker part of that brain, and they've estimated that allows them to be 5 times more accurate when picking these things up than men's, which is what we call women's intuition. So if women have 5 times better intuition than men, where's the evidence of this? Halle Berry, J-Lo, shouldn't they seen all of these things coming if they had 5 times better intuition? Personally, I think there's way too many single, mothers out there for the women intuition to be worked, and guys using women's cars while they're at work and bringing the car back on E. Wouldn't the intuition have told them that? But what do you guys think? Is this just are the scientists pulling one over on us, or is there really something to this? Because we read white papers here at the BLC podcast. We read the research.
So I'm going to go ahead and jump in on this one. So yes, women do have intuition. Unfortunately, women are conditioned not to use their intuition, to be honest. Like, we see the red flags and we ignore them. You know why? Because we're still looking for love. We're too busy saying, oh, we want to find love, or maybe it's not this, or maybe it's that. So while we may have the intuition, we may not necessarily actually put it in place. And that's our fault. Let's be honest. That's on us 100%. Because why in the hell, if you see all these red flags, you still chasing after this dude, and you know deep down, and as a matter of fact, you probably did some I Spy detective ass work too, and you still ignored your I Spy detective ass work, going through his phone, checking where he at, checking his locations, scrolling through his social media, and you still ignore every single red flag that you possibly could have had. Because unfortunately, while we have intuition, we've been conditioned not to use it because you're still chasing that love. You still, or in some case, chasing that dick. And so, because sometimes it's just dick and vibes. And I understand sometimes you get dickmatized, but either way it goes, this is 100% on the women for not using the intuition. I believe the study is valid. And I believe part of the reason why it's valid is because our intuition is usually based on pattern recognition, not just from ourselves, but from watching other people in their lives and so forth. And that's why I talk about the conditioning that we may experience. And so intuition also equates to survival. Unfortunately, a lot of women just not using it. And so, because, loneliness is a powerful fear for many people, and that's oftentimes why women have a tendency not to use it.
So I have a follow-up question.
Better not be about celebrities.
No, listen, this is about science, because the scientists have confirmed the region of the women's brain, it's there. So to me, it begs the question, is it really intuition if you can just turn it off?
Well, it's still intuition. The problem is they just ignore it. It's like, you know what? I'm going to put it in man speak really quickly. It's like when you get a gut instinct and you know when something's going to pop for you, it's like, oh, that's my gut instinct. But you ignore it because there's some fear, or there's some doubt, or there's people in your ear, or there's something else that was telling you, no, don't do it. And so you don't do it, even though your gut instinct told you to do it. So women's intuition to me is similar to gut instinct, which men and women both have, just like men also have intuition as well, which can be related to gut instincts. So, yeah.
I think we're conflating intuition with self-fulfilling prophecies, right? So what I'm looking at is this. Yes, this part of the brain that picks up on nonverbal cues and body language and all that is a little more pronounced, a little more developed, right, than they say it is in men. Now, we typically understand, ladies, don't hate me on this, women tend to be hyper emotional compared to men, right? And hypersensitive to changes that may trigger that emotion, or that may make them be triggered, right? So men usually aren't always checking the temperature of everything, right? They got certain things they're focused on, and they're looking for those things to change and measuring the change there or whatever. Women tend to be more broad in their investigations, more broad in the things they're looking around. Plus, they do a lot of, if you holler out that everything is bad, eventually when you find something bad, you're like, oh, I knew it. You didn't know it. You just labeled everything and found something that proved your bias. There's that. And there's other cases, sometimes these women who have this intuition that their man is doing something, you're the reason, because you treated him like he was doing something. So you know what he did? He went out and did something. It's not intuition. That's provocation. It's inception. You know what I mean? So no, I have to agree with Delvin. If intuition was that strong, women wouldn't blow past all these red flags, right? They wouldn't have to be doing all that sneaking and hide behind and private eye FBI stuff. They could just, oh, this man's doing this. I had a chick one time catch me on some stuff. And she was like, you was doing this, weren't you? And that day I was feeling particularly forthcoming. And I was like, yeah, I did it. I knew it. I knew it. I wasn't sure, but I just knew it. Well, then you didn't really know. And I told her myself, you don't have no intuition. You just ran up on somebody who was feeling a little transparent that day. That's not the same thing, ladies. Please don't get it tripped up. Please do not think because your brain or heart or whatever is guiding you tells you something is happening. That's the real thing. Okay, sit down, settle yourself. All right. Just because that part of your brain is hyperdeveloped, yes, you may be able to read some things, but it doesn't mean you're always reading it right. Slow down.
So technically, because we're supposed to be logical, i.e. men are supposed to be logical, women try to bring the receipts, and that's why they do that I Spy detective game work. So while they have their intuition, they then go and seek out to confirm that intuition, and that's where the I Spy detective game work come into play. Because without concrete evidence, then how can we verify that intuition, especially since we have a tendency to ignore the red flags in the first place? So this is a way of those women trying to find, not necessarily ignore the red flags, but to confirm it. So I can see where you would say, oh yeah, that is a self-fulfilling prophecy. But in reality, it's called evidence gathering, which is part of the detective work.